12, 13 years ago. I remember hearing her when I was in Kuwait. It was her idea to start this Monday morning call and to get everybody fired up. So with that, Cindy, are you on the call?
I am, Tracy. Thank you so much, and good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Wake Up Call. I love when Tracy does the introductions, and especially on Monday morning, because he just fires me up. You just inspire me to want to smile, actually. I mean, you make me smile. So thank you for waking us up this morning. This is chapter 52, and it is a long chapter. Y'all, I might take a break. Anyway, it's chapter 52, Set Realistic Expectations. So Todd Smith says, expectations, we all have them, yet many of us don't learn how to set and manage them until well into adulthood. From the child whose birthday wishes are never quite fulfilled to the spouse who always feels as if he or she is the one who's giving more, to the manager whose team never seems to get it quite right, the expectations we set for ourselves or those around us have the power to influence our success and satisfaction in life. As you progress through this lesson, ask yourself this question: are my expectations helping or hurting me? Because expectations have such far-reaching, powerful consequences in every area of your life, I want to share some of the best advice I've learned when it comes to setting proper expectations for yourself and those around you and those you lead. He said, when we set false and unrealistic expectations, we put ourselves at risk for a host of unwanted outcomes ranging from perpetual frustration and disillusionment to damaged relationships. Even worse, the negative experiences of unmet expectations are a serious drain on motivation and often lead to negative thinking. Some examples to illustrate this point are, number one, if he won't do more in this relationship, why should I? If Joe isn't making calls, why should I? It doesn't matter what I do, things are never going to change. On the other hand, the benefits of learning to set proper expectations are well worth pursuing. You can begin to set appropriate and realistic expectations when you recognize that there are three main categories of expectations. Number one, expectations for yourself. You know that you are capable of, but it's wise to be cautious about setting expectations for yourself that are unrealistic. There is a fine line between pushing yourself to do better and setting yourself up for failure. Find that line so you don't limit your own accomplishments or, at the other end of the spectrum, become depressed and unfulfilled. One effective way of finding the right balance is to keep in mind that change is incremental. It doesn't happen overnight, no matter how much you want it. As you explore the right increment for your personal growth, never lower your expectations to a level where you are no longer challenged. The day you stop challenging yourself to become a better person is the day you begin falling back in life. And then number two was expectations for family, friends, and colleagues. Whether or not you're conscious of it, you have set expectations for those around you. In personal relationships, take care when considering what you expect of others, because every person is unique. No two people see things exactly the same way. Therefore, it's simply not realistic to expect that people, even those closest to you, always know what's in your heart and mind and are actively working toward meeting your expectations. When you start counting on others to meet your unspoken needs and desires, you set yourself up for heartache and disappointment. Make sure your expectations are sensible and appropriate to the relationship. To be fair and to avoid disappointment, do your best to consistently communicate those reasonable expectations. And then number three, he said, expectations for those you lead. In a management position, you should set expectations for your team, but it's critical they know, understand, agree to the expectations you set for them. Expecting those you lead to fulfill expectations you have not clearly communicated is a surefire recipe for disappointment and dysfunction. I think, Tracy, this chapter it's a great one because I think we all have these expectations of, people on our team or people that we're married to, our spouse or our kids, our friends. Like, why didn't they call me, when I was sick? Why didn't they, call me and come over and see me or bring me some? And it's like, well, maybe they didn't even know you were sick. We have these expectations of people when if we don't communicate our expectations with them, then we're sure to be disappointed because they're never going to meet our expectations, especially if they don't even know what they are. So I'll give it to you for your feedback.
Yeah. Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I was messing around with that keyboard. Hey, you're so right, Cindy. I've never, expectation for others, our spouse, our friends. For me personally, it's just like, well, they should know to do this. They should know to do that. No one's thinking exactly what we're thinking. They don't have the same morals or values or goals that we have. And so often my friends or even my spouse has let me down. And that's because I have not expressed what my expectations were. But more, I don't know if it's more importantly, I got to be careful. My expectations for myself, I expect so much out of myself whenever going into a new endeavor. I gotta manage my expectations because I'll let myself down. I should be able to do this, and this, and this, and this, and this. And I got to remember, there's not 28 hours in a day, even though I wish that there was. So. What a powerful chapter. The first time we went through this book, I don't even remember reading this chapter. What a powerful, powerful chapter. With that, I'm going to kick it back to you for a couple thoughts before we let everybody go.
Okay. Well, the one I think about the most with this chapter is our marriage. And, I've been doing this marriage thing on Facebook. I'm on day 27, I think, 41 days I'm doing. But this is a huge topic for married couples because we just sometimes expect your spouse to, nurture you or care for you or do something for you and yet a lot of times that spouse, depending on their background, depending on how they grew up, all of these things, if you don't communicate expectations, you are going to be disappointed. You're going to be in arguments all the time because of your expectations. And maybe they're not even realistic. I mean, you're expecting your spouse to come home and do certain things after they've been at work all day and they're tired and they just want to sit on the couch. They don't want to do anything, but yet you're like, you're supposed to be taking out the trash. You're supposed to be doing this. You're supposed to be doing that. Why don't you put the kids to bed? You haven't done that all week. And it's like if they don't know that you're expecting them to do that, then they're going to just not do it. And you're going to be disappointed and you're going to get in an argument. So setting those expectations are so critical in a marriage. He gives a challenge. He says, how about performing an expectation checkup to determine if the expectations you are setting are appropriate? He said, if you find yourself constantly disappointed in yourself and in others, you are likely setting expectations that are unrealistic or too high. Here are a few checkpoints to get started. Number one, are your expectations realistic and aligned with your goals? You should always strive for improvement, but make sure it's incremental and achievable. Number two, how are your current expectations affecting your relationships with your spouse, friends, and coworkers? Don't make a list of the things they should be doing to make you happy. This is a good one. Instead, make a list of the things you can do to make them happy. You'll be amazed at the difference in your personal level of satisfaction. And then the third thing he says, know that your expectations are not the same as everyone else's. That's normal. if you're in a leadership position, don't set expectations that have not been clearly communicated, no matter how basic they are. Basketball coaching legend John Wooden started every season teaching his players how to put on their socks to avoid getting blisters. And I think that that's a great thing to end with, because, you know, he didn't assume any of them knew how to put their socks on right so they wouldn't get blisters. So he started every season, I'm just going to teach them, you know, and assume that they know nothing. And so anyway, his expectations, you know, he was setting them from the beginning with each player, because he's just assuming, you know, they don't know how to do it. So anyway, I'll let you close this out, Tracy.
Hey, so just an example of the expectations. I remember this excellent this guy that used to work for me in the Department of Corrections. And, you know, my goal was to become the director of corrections, so I'd get to work early, and I'd work these extra hours, and I'd stay late, and I'd do all these extra things. And this guy at work for me was just an excellent worker, and I've seen him as to maybe become the director or maybe my assistant down the road. And I couldn't understand why he wasn't getting to work early, why he wasn't doing extra things. Well, here's the he never wanted to be that. He just wanted to go to work, make a check, and have a happy family life. And that was okay. But, see, I was putting my expectations on him. He was doing an excellent job, but his expectations was just to have a happy family life. So with that, everybody go out and have a happy Monday. I'm going to go ahead and unmute everybody so that we can say goodbye, and so that we can set realistic expectations on each other, on ourselves.
Great
Thank
job,
you.
guys.
Have a wonderful day.
Awesome job.
Thank you.
We'll have a good Monday.
Thank you so much, Tracy and Cindy. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
This topic.
You're welcome.
With